DangerMan here at Paintball Extravaganza in 2019, and I'm with Billy from Dye. Billy, I didn't know who this gentleman was, and I feel like such a fool. And I think that Billy's a pretty exciting guy in the sport of paintball. So I think, Billy, you should tell us a little bit about your history and how you became the man with Dye that you are.
Oh, God, my history. Well, it's a bit of a long story because I'm getting old. But, yeah, just grew up in Northern California, played with the Ironmen from Northern California. Ended up getting picked up with them some 20-something years ago. Ended up playing for 15 years with the Ironmen. During that time, Dye took over ownership of the team and the main sponsor. Got to know Dave, the owner of Dye, over the years. And, at the time I was pretty handy, pretty good wrenching on guns and stuff. And so he brought me in to do some custom guns and some light production for Dye, and I just I've been with Dye ever since. I'm a pretty loyal guy, and I really appreciate what Dye and Dave's always done for me. And it's just a great opportunity to work in the sport and work with the equipment and the products that I enjoy, and just have fun being an overgrown kid playing with overgrown toys, I guess, really.
So you say you have a hand. So I guess explain that. I mean, have you designed guns, or what guns would you be behind if you had a hand in that?
So I've been with Dye since the since the Matrix 3, since we took over.
Dating yourself there for certain.
Well, I started working at Dye in 2000.
Okay.
So 19 years now.
It's 19 years.
Yeah. Been working since 2000. Came in. We were doing the Reflex and the Ultralight autocockers. So I was in charge of production of those at the time, and then we acquired the Matrix, and then I was set to task with a couple other guys to, develop the DM4 and just pretty much every gun since then. Every gun since then I've been involved in. The rotor, the original rotor, and the R2 have been involved in.
I love the rotor. I mean, you can drive over that thing with your car.
Yeah, it's a very durable gun, a very durable hopper.
Yeah, nylon, right? Was it nylon?
Yeah,
Was it made of nylon?
Yeah, glass-filled nylon. Really, really durable, really reliable, very simple design. Just no real tools. It really changed the landscape of hoppers in paintball when we released it. And so we're pretty proud of that product. Goggles, harnesses, pretty much all hard goods, and the more technical soft goods that I've been involved in. Right now I'm more or less I'm the senior product manager, or project manager, special projects, new products, stuff like that.
Now you say project manager. Do you have a PMBOK certificate?
No, okay. No. I am self-taught and School of Hard Knocks, trial and error, educated. So
that's okay. I'm certain that you can handle it just as much as anybody with a PMBOK. But having said that, okay, you've got a gun here. Tell us about what you wanted to showcase.
Okay, so here at the Extravaganza 2019, we don't have anything brand new, but we're still really excited about the M3 Plus. It's the updated version of the M3S. This one we have in our hands here.
Does it feel light?
Yeah, very lightweight. I believe it is the lightest high-end marker in the industry right now.
That's the first thing I've noticed. I mean, this thing is feather light.
Very lightweight. And this is the woodland fade camo. It's one of my favorite colorways. It's not just your basic woodland. It's got a nice fade to it. Some really good colors. Sharp graphics on it. But it's an update from the M3S that we released last year. We released the M3 Plus at World Cup in November. It's got some updates that really make the gun just something special. Really smoothed out the shot, made it far more reliable in general. We got it to shoot far more fragile paint. We also included the new Slap ASA, which is just a push and snap ASA. There's no button, there's no screw, there's no lever, nothing's external. It's all internally housed and enclosed.
Any chance of this being knocked out while you're...
No. It's pretty tight. You got to pull down and then forward.
Okay.
So it's a two-step process to degas.
I like it.
So it's pretty hard to do that, but it's a very robust, durable design. It's all enclosed, so you're not going to get dirt or grime or paint or anything in there to really jam it up. So we're pretty happy about this design. Very simple, very elegant design. So, but the nice thing about all the updates on the M3 Plus is they're completely backwards compatible with the M3S.
Like it.
So if you have an M3S, you're not looking at what we just released, going, that's a whole new gun. Like, it's an update, it's an improvement, it's a refinement, and you can apply all those to your gun, the gun that you've already purchased.
Now, I guess my question then is this a philosophy at Dye? Because I've got the i5, and the first thing that I noticed out of the gate was all of my Horizon lenses worked with the i5 that I had with my i4s.
Yeah, so we really try to, you know, kind of build on the legacy of a product. You know, shared parts, cross compatibility, backwards compatible. You know, we really don't want to leave our past customers just completely in the lurch with something that's completely outdated and unserviceable.
I like that. That's a
you know,
consideration that you don't get from most manufacturers.
Yeah, we really try to focus on refinement rather than just replacement. You know, so we do it with our guns. You
So
know,
there are some philosophies there.
yeah, I mean, we try to have some design theories. You know, that way we can base the direction of our designs with some logic behind them and some theory behind them. So, yeah.
And what do we got here in terms of this colorways? Is this a boom?
So this is the new ULS barrel, and what it is, it's a new barrel tip that we came out with last year. It's got a quieter sound signature, thinner, lower profile at the tip, a little easier to point.
Now, for the uninitiated, how do you get a quieter sound signature? What is it that a manufacturer does that creates a quieter shot?
Okay, so really what causes a loud shot is a lot like if you have a suction in a tube and you pull really fast and you get that pop, right? It's the quick release of the air. That quick release of the air, that's where you get sound from, you know, sounds vibration through air. So with the porting, we just played around, we did a whole bunch of different designs and samples with the porting. And
Was
so
it trial and error, or did somebody go, you know what, I know they would go further back here, or they would go further up here to create this?
Well, there was some theory behind it, a base point, you know, because one way you can eliminate sound is transferring the energy into the release of heat.
Okay.
You know, so there was some theory in there, and you'll notice there's some small holes way at the back to get the initial venting started.
All right.
But really, it's progressive porting that helps, and just getting the spacing, and you'll notice the spacing starts wide and narrows.
I do.
So the
progressive. It's not indiscriminate.
No, it's not. And so we gradually release the air from in front of the ball instead of getting the loud pop. You know, the ball pushing the air out and getting loud pop. They're getting the loud pop. So there's some theory and some logic and some physics behind it. But with paintball, the odd shapes of balls and stuff, you can't avoid the trial and error aspect.
Was there any sacrifice by doing this?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No effect on the efficiency or the accuracy?
No, not at all.
Porting has no bearing.
No, and then of course on the back side of that is the barrel back, which is the ULS barrel back, which is an inch longer than the traditional UL barrel backs you get. So you have a 1 inch longer control barrel, or excuse me, 1 inch longer control bore.
Right.
That should give you better accuracy, and actually probably bump your velocity up a little bit, which ultimately will give you just a marginally better air efficiency as well.
Okay, so because I have a lot of new people on my channel, there we go. UL means ultralight.
Yep.
This is your control bore in the back, and your front control bore and your back control bore.
Yep.
And
actually,
it controls the trajectory of the paintball.
And actually, on this barrel, because we have 2 tones, you can actually kind of see the split, where you're talking about two separate pieces screwed together. They self-align. You know, so you don't have to, you have good concentricity between the 2 barrels, so you get a good straight shot, good accuracy.
Okay, and let's go one more step further. Somebody buys your paintball gun or any paintball gun. The threading here is what type of threading, and how will they be able to have use of different barrels over time that they can play with?
So the paintball industry it still to an extent has a lot of different barrel threads. The threads where the barrel actually screws onto. Over time, really, it's kind of filtered down, standardized into basically two primary thread types for high-end markers, which
autococker,
which is the main one that pretty much everyone uses is called an autococker thread, which is named after one of the original high-end guns, the autococker. You know, so we use autococker threads, which is more or less the standard in the industry. There's a couple other thread types still out there, but
right here. But what happens when you get here?
So this is our proprietary threads. So, you know, our tips and backs work together. Another company's tip or another company's back probably won't work with ours.
So here you go, guys. So if you're going to take your autococker control bore from your Dye gun and want to use it on another gun, great. But guess what? You're going to need one of Dye's front. So just keep that in mind. although you're talking standards, the standards are only here. So make certain, and quite honestly, why would you want to go with both of the products from a very reliable? Yeah, I'm not kissing ass here. I've been a fan of Dye forever for a reason. It's because the product is superior. I'm not going to get into that now, but just, if you're a fan of DangerMan,
just trust them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At this point, just follow and trust on this particular issue. I will back it up as you get to know me through the channel. But Billy, so continue on. What else? What about the new line? I guess, and we've got here.
Yep.
What is this evolution that's going on with Dye product? Where do you see these things heading? I mean, in terms of the future of how much more can you do?
There's always room for improvement, right? And that's the hope or the goal. That there's always another level. There's better air efficiency, better ball handling, better ease of service, better usability, better interfacing with the customer. There's all those things that can just always be refined, made simpler. Simplifying part counts, simplifying O-rings. Just making it easier for the customer to use. Because right now, our over the last couple of years, our goal has been, because we do have the performance down. You can shoot really fragile paint. You get incredible air efficiency. Off a 77 cubic inch tank, you're going to get like close to 2,000 shots off one of these. Right,
okay.
So
that's a case of paint.
That's a case of paint. Off a 77 cubic inch 4,500 fill, you'll get basically a case of paint. So if you're playing out in a scenario game, a big game, you're going to carry a lot of paint, and you're not going to have to go back in for a long time.
I don't think anybody's belt carries a 13 pod belt. Does that carry a case? I mean, is that?
It's about 14 pods.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 14
you're
pods.
Borderline, so you could do it. You could do it.
Yeah. So, but over the last couple of years, because we feel like performance-wise, we're pretty much right there. We're at par or above par with everybody else in the industry. So what we've been focusing on is ease of use, serviceability, really simplifying the gun for the user so that the customer either can just, pull it out of the bag and go play. But if there is an issue where he needs to service it, he only needs 3, maybe 4 tools max, and he can do every single service on this gun.
And color coding helps a hell of a lot too.
Yes. The color coded O-rings. That's something we really enjoy. At the main office, we get a lot of tech calls and stuff. Hey, there's this issue, there's that issue.
And you're able to, without having visually see it, just tell them over the phone.
It's like, just grab the orange O-ring, grab the green O-ring, grab the red O-ring. Okay, we've identified where the problem is. What color O-ring is that? Red? Okay, replace it with a new red one. If you're familiar with O-rings and doing teching with all black O-rings, you'll know the number 14 and the number 15 are nearly indistinguishable. They're very similar in size, and you can imagine
the heartache
over a phone call. No. The black O-ring that's a little bit smaller. Well, maybe it's the black O-ring that's a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. I don't know what's in front of you. They're both black, and they're both within a 16th of an inch.
You guys solve this problem to help yourselves as much as you did the customers.
Yes, but in all truth, a customer who's not familiar with O-ring sizing and how the system works, they don't need to know that. As long as they're not completely colorblind, they just go, the orange O-ring replaces the orange O-ring, and I'm good to go.
Now, by the way, everybody notice how smooth that bolt went in?
Yeah.
You want to show that again?
Yeah, so it's just a push button on the side. It's not threaded, and it just slides right out. So it's got a big locking plate in the back.
That button is really nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I am certain there's a governor on here, correct? When you got a tank installed, that ain't popping off.
You could force it off if you really wanted to.
But you'd have to force it.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Okay.
It's by no means is it easy.
Okay.
So
I'm sure it's been through rigorous testing, and the only way it's coming off is somebody's actually going to really go at it.
Right.
Okay.
And if someone was to take it, force it off, and really just go against anything that makes sense.
Right.
If they do pop it out, the bolt just kind of goes pop and just sits there and bleeds air.
Okay.
In no way is this going to go firing off.
So we don't have a projectile.
No, there's no projectile. It's a very safe redundancy safety system.
You like these questions? I hope so.
Keeps me talking, so that's good. Questions are always good.
The question is, Billy, there's so many questions that people want answered, and they just don't. They're afraid to ask the simple ones, I think, in paintball. And I think that's what's made this game feel so exclusive to a new paintballer. And that's the whole purpose of me shooting videos with someone like Billy from Dye, where I get to ask these simple questions. You get to know the detailed answers that you're afraid to ask because maybe they'll make you look like a noob. And the fact is, it's just, you can't know everything.
No,
And
absolutely.
and the paintball community is so friendly if you just give them credit for being friendly. I remember playing at a place called Graveyard years ago where the one thing that everybody loved to do was just bonus ball the hell out of each other. And so somebody who coming into the game was just run off real quick in a hurry by that attitude. And it took a while, I think, it takes a while for some of the when you go from that beginner level to the intermediate level, to learn that lesson that if you act like a jackass like that, you're not going to last in the game, and you're going to run the people out who matter in the game, the next player. So again, that's what the whole premise of these DangerMan videos is, to make certain that we keep it, I want to say keep it simple stupid, we keep it simple. So if you got questions that you want me to get back to people such as Billy, I think we're going to do a podcast sometime soon, aren't we?
Yeah, we're definitely going to try to schedule one in the next few weeks, I think.
So we can address your questions there as well. I hope to get this video up soon enough for you all to see. But before we end this just now, because if you're enjoying this, I think we should go just a little bit longer. With this M3, what is the price point? Why would somebody who's a woods baller get into a gun that's this heavy duty?
Well, so the price point's $15.95.
Yeah, it's steep.
It is a steep price point, but one thing I don't think guys that really go after the tactical looking guns for the wood ball, the scenario, the realistic feel, I don't think they really truly realize the advantages of shooting a gun like this. It's a lot like anything where the equipment makes a big difference.
Right.
And with guns like this, the M3 Plus or our DSR line or anything like that, one of the first advantages is the air efficiency.
Absolutely.
Tremendous air efficiency.
Which means also my shots are really accurate. The net one shot,
Yeah.
it's going to go where I want it to. The second shot's going to go the same place.
Yeah, and besides air efficiency, you're talking about weight. You mentioned how light this is. I see these guys out there at big scenario games, and I'm not. Look, I grew up playing Army, Cops and Robbers, Cowboys, and Indians. I grew up I was a country kid, so I did all of that, and I liked the realism of it. But at the end of the day, I could carry a gun that loaded out. The gun is 2.5 pounds, or I can carry a gun all day that's like 6-7 pounds. So just the fact of enjoying the day longer without wearing myself out, that's a big advantage for me. And then just the weight itself, it's easier to pull up, smaller your kids and your family members. Like, it's just an easier gun to pull up and carry and aim and point, because you don't have that heavy weight out in front of you. Other advantages to these types of guns.
I don't want your gun down, but if you're going to draw on somebody, you're going to draw quicker with this gun.
Yeah. Some of the other advantages of this gun is the electronic trigger. You don't have a big, heavy trigger. So if you do like to just rain paint and really throw a lot of paint.
To the beginner, or the heavies,
Yeah.
does that mean stiff? Does that mean, explain that to a
Okay,
beginner.
so the electronic trigger, you're basically just flipping a micro switch. Your tension or the weight of the trigger is based just on a mechanical system we put in. You're not pulling a sear off a hammer and then it's been driven by a heavy spring.
It's not a pneumatic switch.
It's not a mechanical switch. It's electronic. So you can set your weight of your trigger down to a few ounces if you want, up to a couple pounds. So you get like a match grade trigger, if you will. Yeah, I mean, you can really get going on it, and that's a lot. Hey, it's a lot of fun to pull the trigger in paintball and just watch the balls go. So again, for younger people or whatnot, it just, you can enjoy the day longer.
Hey, personally, I'm a one baller, but when I need to roll a string in front of somebody, I'm all for it.
And then probably last but not least, that I think people don't recognize about these guns that aren't used to them, is just how smooth they shoot. There's virtually no recoil to these guns. You don't have any barrel rise, you don't have any shake to it. So it's a very smooth gun, so it's very accurate and it's very easy to shoot accurately.
Now, you say that about this particular model, but I would like to say the same thing about DSR. I think it's the die line in general.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely performance aspects that we try to build into all our guns, which is the accuracy, the smoothness, the ease of use. And the ease of use is not just the service and keeping it going, but the ease of use of just pulling it up, pointing it, making sure the ball comes out the barrel accurately, and so you're having fun playing. That's really the key to the whole thing, is having fun. So
for me, the ownership of a gun like this, if you're trying to question the price point of something my answer to you is really simple, and that is, this is a gun you buy if you're not a gun collector. If you want a reliable gun that you can hang on to and shoot for a period of time, that's when you spend money like this, because you care about your game. If you're a gun collector, then you may not want, to invest this much because you're not thinking about this gun. You're thinking about next year's model and next year's model. And I think that's the wrong reason to own a paintball gun. I'm sorry. There's so many players out there who've got one color of everything and everything else. And fine, if you got the extra money, go blow it. But to me, this is what Billy has made the case for here is that when you make this kind of investment, this is the gun you're going to have for a few years.
And we support that, in the sense that, our customer service, our repair service, backwards compatible, cross compatibility, shared parts, through legacy designs and stuff. The guns can be serviced and kept running at a very high performance level, just like new for years. So it is something that these aren't your disposable guns where you use it for a year or so, it's beat up, it's worn out, and you go, well, it was $150, I'll just grab another one.
I was going to say, and worst case scenario, you decide you're going to sell your die because you need the next one. The resale value, it's going to hold its value.
Very good, very good. Now, you did touch on collectability. And
hey man, if you got the money and you want to buy a bunch of guns, I'm not saying don't.
This is the gun I happen to have in my hand, and I keep it with me because I find it beautiful. The red to orange to black fade, the logos on it. This is actually one of our team edition custom guns. And what we've done this year is we've opened up a design house for teams in paintball, down to the lowest level team. Like this is not exclusive to the pros, the semi-pros, big club organizations. If you got a group of guys and you're really proud of your team, you have the ability to come to us. We'll work with you. You will work directly with our design team. You actually work directly with me, and develop your custom gun, and then we'll produce as few as 5 of them for you.
Wow.
So it's very low quantity, very custom, very special. So, you end up with something that, not only is exactly what you want, and it's something that personally represents you, but it is a bit of a collector's item for you personally. It's got some real personal sentimental value because it's going to represent the team you played for and your brothers and your friends that you played with.
Well, heads up scenario teams, there you go.
Yeah.
I would be hitting them up, and it helps that Billy's likable. I've talked to him when he's not on camera. He's actually not a bad person.
I try not to be, so, I do try to fly under the radar and, stay out of the spotlight, but I love it. It's great. I greatly appreciate it, and you're definitely the official spokesman, first person from now on.
And again, it's not about the relationship with Dye in terms of being a sponsor. It really is about me knowing what this product is, and I'm so enthusiastic about it for that reason and that reason alone. If there was no relationship between us, I would still be telling you, please go out and buy yourself Dye gear. Whether it's the soft goods, whether it's the hard goods, you get the idea. Well, I'm getting a little rah-rah now, so we're going to shut up. But bottom line is, thank you, Billy. Look for us on a podcast. If you haven't been on if you're watching this video in 2020 or whatever, dig into the DangerMan archives, and we'll probably have done a podcast by then, and you'll hear us talk about like the history of paintball, because he's got a lot of years. When did you start?
Oh, geez. Well, I started playing when I was 14, and I'm 42 now, so it's been a few years.
I would never date myself like that. No.
That's the open honesty that you get from Dye.
With that, we'll see you at the 50.
All right, take care. Thanks.
It's too much for any man.